Great, so good morning, everyone. We're going to follow that exciting announcement from the city with a discussion of all of the public-private entities, New Jersey EDA, the New York City EDC, Westchester County, and the City Planning Department, just to kind of take a look at what's happening in the life science industry and get some different perspectives on what's happening now and what's going to happen in the future. Matt?
Thank you, Nancy. Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Waskiewicz, and I'm a planner with the Economic Development and Regional Planning Unit at the Department of City Planning. It's a bit of a mouthful for a title, but what we do, essentially, is help the city and the region think and act regionally in its planning objectives. And that led us to create a report this past June that we released jointly with the city's EDC, characterizing life sciences in the New York City Metro. You can find the full report at nyc.gov/region, but to start us off with a little bit of a data snack, I'll jump through some slides and some highlights to set the conversation this morning. Next slide, please. So I think we all naturally get that New York City is the hub of a regional ecosystem and economy. We might work in Midtown but live in New Jersey. We might go up to the Hudson Valley on a weekend or take the train up to New Haven. But I think we might not quite as intuitively get the sheer magnitude of our region's economy and what an asset that is for an industry like life sciences. So I'll paint a little bit of an impressionistic picture here. Each of these dots is 250 jobs. And if you were looking at trying to find New York City on this map, it might be a little difficult to do, but it is right at the center of the largest economy in the country, $2 trillion GDP. If we were our own country, that would put us kind of on the same scale as Brazil, Canada, or Russia. And what this means is about half that GDP is inside the city, half outside the city, and it's that flow of people and ideas and funding from in the city to out of the city that makes our economy move and makes us so competitive in the life sciences arena. And so we're growing, and we're growing quickly. Over the last decade, New York City has added over 900,000 jobs, and in sectors that are complementary to life sciences, like healthcare and tech, we're especially growing fast. In fact, the city's information sector has grown at about 6 times the rate of the country as a whole, and coming out of the pandemic has exceeded the national growth as well. Next slide, please. And so for life sciences, it means that we have the ability for these flows and complementary abilities for people and funding and research to come from inside the city as its hub to outside the city. And so what this report did for the first time is characterize the city's life sciences economy as not just the 5 boroughs of New York City. Of course, the city is its core, its nucleus, but it's these connections to research going on at Stony Brook or at Rutgers or at Yale, and the ability for PhDs and for funders and for all kinds of life sciences talent to flow in and out that really makes the whole greater than the sum of its parts. So when you add us all up together, we are in fact the largest life sciences economy in the country. 150,000 jobs, about 14,000 more than the next leading metro, and more life sciences companies than any other metro in the country as well. And last year, all of these workers together had about $23 billion in wages. Next slide, please. And so this is a bit more of a deeper dive into life sciences clusters. We have more than a dozen different clusters across the metro area. New York City really popping up here in blue as being the hub in Kips Bay, and with that regional rail access. But when you think about the elements that go into what makes our metro so competitive in life sciences, from our perspective as the Department of City Planning, it comes down to two main elements, one of these being connectivity and the other being talent. But first, on connectivity, it's these clusters of anchoring research with a regional rail system that is unparalleled anywhere else in the United States. And then once you get to New York City, you have that subway and bus system that, again, is the most extensive public transit in the entire country. And so the ability to get from one part of our metro to the other, and specifically connecting these research institutions, which are popping out in the dark blue here on the map, It's part of what makes our metro so competitive in life sciences. Next slide, please. So for New York City, it's the gravitational center of this life sciences economy. And the expansion, and its incredible expansion, is a testament to the fact that we have walkable centers, and it attracts and retains amazing talent, and has the ability to support this industry. And so this slide talks about the talent and why our talent is so incredible compared to other metros. To put this in context, we added more workers, nearly 500,000 in the last decade. That's the same size of the workforce of Miami, that we have grown by the size of Miami in the last decade as a metro. About half of that labor force growth has been inside New York City. The rest of it has been in transit accessible locations across our metro. And that's important because, as many of us know, life sciences isn't just PhDs and people in lab coats. In fact, our research found that for every life sciences specialized occupation, there were 3 additional jobs in life sciences and supporting roles, whether this is folks who work in administration or insurance or law, but also things like custodial services and local services that support the growth of the life sciences industry. And our labor force growth as a metro and our transit connectivity put together means that life sciences companies have a much broader base to gather the talent they need to find a match for the role that fits them. And we just don't see this on the same scale anywhere else in the country, and it's part of what makes us so competitive. Next slide, please. And so if you think about that talent and that connectivity together, it should be no surprise then that our funding is leading any other metro. And you can see here about 75% of our NIH funding as a metro is dedicated to New York City-based institutions. And what this means is that New York City is a great place for a startup, and life sciences is one of the industries of the future. And so it's critical that we are unlocking additional space for the life sciences industry across all 5 boroughs. And so that's just what we're doing. Next slide, please. I'll close by highlighting some of what we at the Department of City Planning are doing to make sure that we are growing the life sciences industry here in New York City. As you'll hear throughout today's events, and I've already heard, Mayor Eric Adams and his administration are committed to growing the life sciences economy and having New York City grow as the nucleus of our regional life sciences ecosystem. And so we at New York City Planning recognize there's more that we can do, and so we're laser focused on adding even more locations to work and to live across the city. We've launched an initiative called the City of Yes, which is designed to overhaul the city's zoning to accelerate New York City's recovery and make it a more sustainable, resilient, and equitable recovery for all New Yorkers. But part of this initiative, we're looking at the ways in which we can use our zoning to help unlock more space for the growth of the life sciences industry across New York City. We're just in the early stages of this initiative, and so I would welcome you. We'd love to hear from you. So if you're a broker, if you're a developer, other user, startup founder, anyone who is a builder or user of life sciences space, if you've encountered a zoning-related challenge in your work, I would love to hear from you. Find me during lunch, find me during a break, or you can email us at newyorkcity.gov/cityofyes. So we'd love to talk more about this initiative, but I'll turn things over now to my colleague across the Hudson, Kara.
Thank you. Yes, I love all the data there, and especially the heat map of New Jersey and the concentration of life science companies. So in New Jersey, I'm Kara Moore, sector lead of life sciences at the NJEDA, working across the state to help life sciences grow and innovate and create good jobs. And so if you can go to the next slide, please. We are very excited about the growth that's happening in the state of New Jersey. Many companies are either expanding or setting up locations across our state. And I see my dots here on this map are mirroring your cluster of that heat map of where the concentration of life science companies are. And we hear from all these companies, it's talent. It's talent and then access to real estate and resources. So Roche, you might have seen just recently, made their expansion of 141,000 square feet, one of their largest flagship facilities in the US, focused on PCR manufacturing. Beijing is opening a massive campus in Princeton, 400,000 square feet. Gilead is choosing their East Coast presence to expand with 400 to 500 new jobs, and Parsippany with 96,000 square feet. So you can see it's more than 2.5 million square feet dedicated towards life science companies here in the state of New Jersey. And so we're very excited about that growth. And it seems like every week there's a new announcement. This is just a sampling of some of those exciting companies. Next slide. And so, according to real estate reports, we have over 20 million of square feet. Roughly 50 of that is owner occupied, and then 50% of that is rent. But these are a few of those developments on 3 campus you might be familiar with. It's the old Roche site, about 10 miles from the Lincoln Tunnel. ISI just set up their US HQ there. Hackensack Meridian Center for Discovery and Innovation is there. Modern Meadows has a 70,000 square foot office there, and Quest has opened up their new facility. I can't go without mentioning the New Jersey Bioscience Center, which is the NJEDA campus. We have 300,000 square foot campus with an incubator there. We have some space available right now if you're looking for space. It's private labs, not shared labs, 900 to 1,300 square foot labs. It's very rare to have space available. But you use flexible lease terms, about a year lease, but the people graduate out of there in 5 years, affordable space, and then we have step-out labs on that campus as well. It's a fantastic campus, and more things are coming to that campus, and we're proud of the central location of the New Jersey Bioscience Center. And then there are quite a few areas under development, as you'll see noted in green, but if we go to the next slide. So these are 4 exciting developments that are happening in the state of New Jersey. SciTech City, which will be part of the Liberty Science Center Innovation Campus. It will have a STEM high school. It will have a Scholars Village where people can live and work. It will also have an incubator space called EdgeWorks, and Sheba Medical Center has signed on to be a tenant in there, and it will be the latest in healthcare innovation that will take place. They will start building here in the spring. We're very excited about that campus. 95 Green, just across the way over in Jersey City. Direct access to the path. We were talking just before, I think Matt overlooks Jersey City from his location, and I'm like, it's a great place to be. It's affordable, and 95 Green used to be an old Colgate facility that they're retrofitting into lab space. It's very beautiful if you haven't had a chance to see it. I can't go without mentioning the Cove, which is 3 million of square feet, 1.5 million dedicated towards life sciences and healthcare. So that is going to be very exciting. And then in the central Jersey area, Helix, which you might have known as prior to name called the Hub, will be an innovation space where Rutgers Medical Center will be featured there. Princeton will have a footprint, Hackensack, RWJ Barnabas. It will be a centralized location of healthcare innovation. And even Amtrak will be making extra stops in the New Brunswick facility area, so you can easily get across the coast in the Helix Center. So we're very excited about this development. And next slide. And we have quite a few programs to help founders and startups and small businesses expanding. So Angel Investor Tax Credit is an attractive program we have available for any investors across the world can get 20 to 25% back on their investment in companies that are getting private capital. If you're not located in New Jersey, Department of Taxation will just cut you a check to support those companies in New Jersey. NOL, very popular program, selling off your net operating losses to profitable companies. The average award this past year was $3.1 million that companies have a non-dilutive form of equity or of capital that they can use in their company. NJ Ignite, we provide a rent subsidy to several co-working spaces throughout the state. So we will pay roughly 6 of your 12 months rent or 3 of your 6 months. That NJ Bioscience Center that I mentioned that we have lab space for, that's one of those NJ Ignite programs where we will pay for half of your rent. VentureLink is up in Newark, and Princeton Innovation Center Biolabs, of course, in Princeton, is another lab space location that is attractive. And then we have some very exciting programs coming soon. The NJ Innovation Evergreen Fund. We just closed our corporate tax auction. It was oversubscribed at $50 million, where we sold off tax credits to profitable companies. And we're going to use that capital to partner with VC firms and match investments up to $5 million in a special purpose vehicle that they can use to invest alongside startups in the state of New Jersey. So we expect to publish our list of VCs we're partnering with. If you're a VC interested in being part of this program, we're going to have those applications open up in December, and then probably in Q1, that capital will be available to New Jersey companies. Life Sciences Fund will have a $60 million fund dedicated towards early stage life science companies. We're going to seek out a fund manager here very soon to manage that $60 million. It could be $20 million across 3 investment managers. And last, we're doing an angel match where we'll match up to $500K at the term sheet level for companies looking to double their capital. So those are just a handful of programs that we have available to support life science companies in the state of New Jersey. I'm happy to be a resource and look forward to maybe running into a few of you after the session. I'll turn it over to my colleague in Connecticut.
Actually, I'm in Westchester.
Oh, Westchester, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Okay, I'm Deborah Novick, Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation in the Westchester County Office of Economic Development. And we have a strong focus on the life sciences, and love to tell you something about it. Can I have the next slide, please? So in case you don't know, Westchester is the first county outside of New York City. We're attached to the Bronx. You cannot get to Connecticut or the rest of the Hudson Valley without passing through Westchester. We have a population of over 1 million people and very easy access to New York City. We were comparing notes this morning. My colleague Bridget Gibbons, who's here, her train ride 28 minutes, my train ride 32 minutes to Midtown. And really we're a regional economic hub, you know, mirroring what Matt said about the fluidity of borders and how easy it is to maneuver and move around in this region. You know, so many people who live in Westchester do their research or have their jobs here in New York City, but reverse commuting has gotten to be practically even with inbound commuting, and we see that the trains are just as full coming in and as going out in the mornings and in the afternoon rush hour as well. We have a strong set of higher education institutions in the region, in the county, a lot of walkable downtowns, and really outstanding public school districts. Next slide, please. So we have 4 major research institutions and many other academic programs focused in the STEM fields and in the life sciences in particular. IBM, of course, has the Thomas Watson Research Center. New York Medical College, which is one of the oldest medical schools in the country, is based in Valhalla, and it's on a shared campus with Westchester Medical Center, Maria Ferrari Children's Hospital. It's about a half a mile away from Regeneron's big campus. There's a biotech incubator on that campus as well, which I'm not sure if it has any space available at the moment, but when it does, it has both private and shared labs, event space, collaboration space, co-working desks, and actually we're looking into, we definitely know there's a need for more incubation space. We're trying to figure out where to put that. But that center of the county, Valhalla, Hawthorne, Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow, Elmsford area, that is sort of the densest part of the life sciences cluster in Westchester, although there's activity all around the county. At SUNY Purchase, there's a lot of research focused on the behavioral sciences and strong programs in the basic sciences. And of course, we're very proud of Burke Neurological Institute, which is based in White Plains, or might be called Harrison, but in any case, really a fantastic institution, very focused on neurological disease, brain injury, doing a lot of groundbreaking research in robotics to assist people with brain injury, rehab therapies, and a lot of aging-related neurodegeneration research. Part has an affiliation with Weill Cornell, really a terrific research institution based in Westchester. Next slide, please. So like the rest of the region, you know, we have a wide variety of participants in our life sciences ecosystem. You can see in the, it's not really a pie chart, what would you call that? In the ring, you can see the different sectors that are represented. Drug development, about 28% of the companies based in Westchester, digital health, 7% and growing, medical devices, 19% and growing. A few of our exciting companies mentioned on the right, of course, Regeneron will be speaking later, but we're very grateful and thrilled to have them as our homegrown success story. 25 plus years, they've been building their business in Westchester and up to about 4,000 employees now, with 1,000 new jobs coming as they do their expansion, but I'll leave that to them to tell you more about. Oligomerics, a very interesting company working on some treatments for Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, recently raising some capital, receiving some grant awards, based in the center of the county. Claripath, medical robotics company, working on automating one of the last manual steps in the process of developing slide samples. Really doing some exciting work, and just doubled their space and raised a large Series B round. So we do have participants, of many, many different sectors. We have some packaging companies that make equipment for pharmaceutical manufacturers, which is kind of an interesting adjacent sector. And I don't know if it's mentioned on our slides, I can't recall, but I just want to throw in that to support this growth and fill the pipeline of early stage companies, Westchester introduced the Westchester County Biosciences Accelerator Program a couple of years ago. We have applications open right now for our 4th cohort. We have 30 alums, startups that have come through the program already. And I think the sectors that are represented by those startups really mimic what you see. It's not dedicated to just drug development or just medical devices or just digital health companies. It's very broad. And it's so interesting to see each year how the applicants shift in terms of what they're emphasizing and what's really coming up. Next slide, please. So of course, this is a real estate conference, so I can't end a slide presentation without talking about real estate. I mentioned the incubator, which is on the campus of New York Medical College. It's 16,500 square feet, very, very beautiful space. If I do say so myself, I oversaw the expansion. That was my last job working there before I came to work at the county government. It's really very beautiful, and they hold a lot of conferences there. If anybody is looking for incubation space or a good place to hold an event, please let me know or get in touch with them directly. There's the Robert Martin Companies has a sector division of their business focused on step-out space for life sciences companies. That's where Claripath is based, and several other growing biosciences companies also right in that centralized part of the county. In fact, that step-out space is right in between New York Medical College and Regeneron, just down the hill 1 block. And we have this wonderful campus that's coming soon. The North 80 will be a very significant science campus, again, right in that centralized part of the county, adjacent to New York Medical College and Westchester Medical Center, and very near Regeneron. And when it's fully built out, it'll have over 2 million square feet of biosciences and research space. We're very excited for them to get their shovels in the ground, I hope in early 23. And if there are, I'm in some discussions with other property owners about converting some buildings to life sciences space. If any of you are interested in talking to us about building life sciences space in Westchester, we'd love to know about it. I think that's the end of my presentation, and I'll turn it over back to New York City.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Sue Rosenthal. I lead the life sciences team at the New York City Economic Development Corporation. And I'm going to keep my presentation short because I'm last, and we only have a few minutes left, and I want to make sure there's room for discussion, Q&A with the group. So if you go to the first slide, really what I wanted to start with is how are we doing? What does the market look like? And that's a question that's on everyone's mind, knowing that the past year has been colder across the globe for IPOs, for the capital markets, for some investors. But I actually want to challenge that and share that what we're hearing from the investors across the industry and what we're seeing in terms of both the NIH funding and the venture funding is actually just that it's more of an adjustment from the exuberance that happened in 2020. And so every time we show this slide to anyone, immediately we realize they will tell us it's wrong, whoever it is. So chances are this is wrong. But directionally, it tells us a lot. So as you can see for NIH funding, and this is very specific to New York City, but I would assume that it's similar for other markets as well, that we are on track, this is as of the end of August, early September, that we're on track to meet or exceed the last year's funding from NIH. And we see that from the federal government. There's quite a bit of funding coming out, whether through NIH or other programs for the biotech industry. For the capital markets, for venture capital, which is where a lot of the startups find their investment early stage prior to either IPO or acquisition, we see that up until the end of August, we're actually getting close to where we were. First off, we're at 2018. We're getting closer to where we were in 2019. And so while yes, we don't want to sugarcoat things, certainly the IPO markets, the IPOs and whatnot, and VC raises are taking a little bit longer, or they're a little bit more measured in how they're investing. If there is good science, if there is a good opportunity for translational R&D, there is plenty of powder to invest in it. And so we're seeing announcements like Inspirna or Innervase or Calliope get the raises that you would see good companies getting from the capital community. We're also seeing expansions. I mentioned Calliope, but Icon is another one that just recently raised a tremendous amount of money out in California, and they are now opening a location in New York City to expand their footprint and their development. So it's an exciting time, and New York City, as we've shared previously, is doubling down, and as Cecilia shared quite a bit on earlier, we are really putting our money where our mouth is in terms of life sciences and growing it in the city. And you can see where we are now is triple where we were 5 years ago in terms of the space on the bottom left, and where we're going is going to double where we are now. We have visibility to 7 million square feet coming online over the next 5+ years or so, and our goal, which we'll get to in a moment, is to surpass 10 million square feet by 2030. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about the city's vision. So we see New York City and our region with us as a leader in life sciences globally, full stop. We also know that we have a lot of strengths in the city, whether that's the institutions, the innovation, the talent pool, the fact that we are adjacent within the city to many other sectors. So we have deep expertise in tech, we have deep financial markets, even industries like the fashion industry, the food industry, present opportunity for life sciences. And so let's see how we can solve the most challenging unmet needs that are on the market. Knowing where we are now versus where we were 15 to 20 years ago, our strategic intent has evolved. So first and foremost, we are putting in place a hub and spokes of life sciences in the city. In previous years and in other sessions like this, I've shared that I don't think we're going to have one Kendall Square. I think we're going to have several in New York City and in our region. And so let's go do that. Let's build deliberately in Kips Bay, up the East Side corridor, up the West Side corridor, up in West Harlem on the west side, in Long Island City, in Morris Park. Deliberate clusters where talent attracts talent and companies attract companies. And so I mentioned earlier, we have visibility to 7 million square feet. We have intent for over 10. We want to partner with you as you're doing that. We have $1 billion in city levers, whether that's city capital or tax abatements or real estate on top of that to help do that. Second, and I would say should be first, is building a robust and equitable talent workforce. And how we're doing that, whether that's for an intern that's coming out of college or for someone who's thinking about a non-advanced degree and how they can be part of the life sciences industry, we are thinking about programs for that as well. And then how do we attract and retain companies to New York City? How do we do events like this so that as you're talking to companies and they're thinking about the spaces that are available, that they're thinking about New York City as a place to be, both to grow themselves, build their talent pool here, and also access those markets that we just talked about. And so our goal is 10 million square feet, 40,000 high quality jobs, and over 1,000 companies in New York City for life sciences. And last but not least, if you go to the next slide, just to share one layer deeper in terms of what the specifics of that. We won't go into program by program or procurement by procurement or real estate parcel by parcel, but we are hoping to advance our innovation, work with the institutions, work with the innovators of the community, whether that's with a school or with a venture capital or with an incubator to advance science, through translational R&D. We are seeing that the industry is the traditional therapeutics, diagnostics, vaccines, devices, but it's also advancing into biosustainability, planetary health, ways to address climate change using biology and technology. And combining that intersection of tech and biology is important as well, and a strength the city is emerging in. In terms of infrastructure, we will always, or I don't know about always, we continue to be investing in wet lab spaces and incubators. On top of that, we see a need in the market for graduation space, so someone coming out of an incubator that may not be ready for 25,000 square feet, but may need 6,000 square feet. And so we're looking to build that in using the incentives that we have. We are also, anything that's not wet lab that companies may need, whether that's core facilities or vivarium or manufacturing space, small scale, we're interested in that. And of course, thinking about education and workforce alongside that. So I realize that we are at time. I don't know if we want, I tried to go quickly. I apologize for speaking so quickly, but I realized we were short.
No, you're fine, you're fine.
But let's open it up.
Yeah, so we've got some time for a couple of questions. This was a great discussion about how strong the life science industry really is in the tri-state region. And just want to add to your report, Matt, that when you issued that report, you issued it in conjunction with New Jersey EDA and with the state of Connecticut, Advanced Connecticut, and with BioNJ and Westchester County and BioConnecticut. So the momentum that we put in place with our conference from last year, which really for the first time looked at the metro area, I think was very well validated in your report. Anybody have a question for our experts?
Thanks. Brian Darmody from the Association of University Research Parks. A great panel discussion about regionalism. So I just wanted to talk about, the federal government is pushing opportunities in regional economic development, including biodevelopment through like EDA, and the National Science Foundation has this Regional Engines program. I'm curious, is that generating ideas for among your jurisdictions to go in and put in proposals on a regional basis rather than just New York City going alone?
I can start if you want. So we have had, through the institutions and partnering collaboratively with the institutions across the region, various different combined efforts for some of those. I can't go into more detail on that, but certainly it has been really fascinating to see the opportunity of working together across the region through the institutions with our economic development agencies as well.
We're actually going to hear about one of them this afternoon. CUNY is going to talk about the collaborative that they've put together.
Well, I'll just add that in Westchester, we are submitting for one of those NSF regional engines in the life sciences. And it's a little complicated. The NSF guidelines are that your regional engine has to be so advanced, but not so advanced. And so striking the right balance of how far along we actually are and how big a region to describe is one of the things we're working on, but we're very hopeful that we could be bringing a lot more resources into this regional life sciences community if we're successful. It's a great opportunity, obviously, with all the money that's being made available to support these kinds of ecosystems. It's great that the government really recognizes how powerful it is as a tool.
And I'll add that New Jersey had 12 proposals submitted for the concept papers. 11 of them were type 1 proposals, and one was a type 2 in life sciences, which is that sci-tech city, which they're going to expand across the region to be, health equity, health innovation, life science ecosystem. There's also a type 1 that's tangential to life sciences focused on photonics that we're looking at. Several states are combining across that type 1 proposal, which is very exciting. That new initiative from NSF was was helpful just to see all the proposals, that Tableau report they came out with, to see all the areas, the pockets, and it allowed people to collaborate more. And so I look forward to, hopefully there's more of that, so we can have this cross collaboration and not so many silos of people working on some of the same areas.
Did you have anything?
Nothing to add, just
Okay.
reiterating the importance of the region and thinking about how we collaborate in our investments in this space.
Well, what's interesting going to Deborah's comments is that they're really looking to bring communities who haven't necessarily had the opportunity to develop these kinds of resources into the mix now, which will certainly expand. And we've seen it even in the coverage that we're doing in this meeting. You're going to hear, about a lot of new projects that are in the suburbs. Okay, well, thank you so much for bringing us up to date.